Hey guys, and welcome back to What the Scrap. I am Zmore, the dad in DPS, but before we get into today's video, don't forget to drop me a like, a comment on if you enjoy my videos, and if you're hungry for more, make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my current releases. Now today's video is one I've been attempting to get done for a good while, possibly the most awkward resource to find due to having to primarily craft it, and that is Flux. Now, Flux is a radioactive resource that has 3 ways to acquire it. Technically, it can be acquired anywhere on the map with the exception of the nuke exclusion zone, the reason for this being pretty simple: a nuke must be dropped. Now, in order to have access to the nuclear weapons in the game, you're going to have to travel to various missile silos located across the map, do a fair chunk of the main quest line, especially the Enclave part, and collect a nuclear key card. If you want all the info on how to launch nukes, I can put that in another video, just leave a comment about it. However, let's assume you are already ready to launch one. Now, whenever you launch nukes into set areas, it can activate some special events, the first of which is Scorched Earth. This is caused by nuking the Fisher Site Prime, and it summons the de facto end boss of the game, the Scorch Beast Queen. Now, this ginormous bat creature, it takes a lot of people to take it down, or less people if people are using less than legitimate means. And once you've taken down the boss, you'll reap the rewards from the event quest. And as you can imagine, it's going to be various types of stable flux. So this is a good method to get that. The next event is much the same to the first. That would be a colossal problem. Now, instead of dropping a bomb on the Fisher Site Prime, you drop it onto Minoga Mine. This is going to open the event, and once you enter inside, you'll have to wait around for a couple of minutes until it allows you to explore deeper. Then you're going to come across the Wendigo Colossus known as Errol Williams. Once defeated, you leave the mine, and as you can guess, you will be rewarded with more stable flux. Now, a top tip that involves these events would be to drop your first bomb on the Monaga mine, and then if you are going to launch the other two within the 2-hour window of the nuke site being up, drop the other two on Fisher Site Prime. Now, if a nuke zone is already active over Minoga mine, dropping a second and third bomb will cause both events to activate simultaneously, and if you're able to kill the Scorch Beast Queen really quick, you can actually then jump over to Errol Williams, kill him as well. And since both events drop legendaries and other loot, it's pretty damn valuable, especially since you'll be getting 2 lots of flux. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Now, the next method is via crafting. So what do we need to craft flux? The first is raw flux. This comes in various colours and it's gathered from different flora across the map. However, the only way to gather the flux from the plant life is for that plant life to be in a nuke zone. And the types of flux corresponds typically to the colour of the plant. Red plants give crimson flux, purple gives violet, etc. I'll put a link down below showing which fluxes come from which plants. One thing about raw flux, however, is that it is classified as a food item. As such, once you leave the nuke area, it slowly degrades and eventually becomes, well, useless. So don't gather it until you're ready to craft the stable flux. Another top tip to add is that Green Thumb will actually give you more resources with this as well. Now, next up we need 3 more resources: Hardened Mass, Glowing Mass, and High Radiation Fluids. These materials, once again, must be harvested from the nuke zone. However, this time it's from living creatures. In theory, this can be done anywhere in the map that you drop a nuke. However, one place I regard is the best and my favourite location. That would be White Springs. Now, there's a large amount of ghouls. All of them will be converted into glowing ones when you land the bomb on here, and there's a good chance of legendary enemies. So in more ways than one, this is a great method to gather multiple things at once. Now, ideally you want to do this method on a private server and or in a group. The reason for this is twofold. It's easier to kill in a group, and teammate kills nearby basically still allow you to loot. And on top of that, a private server is not going to allow anyone to randomly start clearing enemies in a different part of White Springs. On top of that, If your nuke zone is on a private server, you can reset the spawns in the nuke zone by fast traveling away from the area, leaving the server, joining a public server, then joining back to your private server and traveling back to the nuke zone, which pretty much means you can, for the duration of the 2 hours of the nuke zone's up, you can endlessly farm the spawns and gather more resources. You do need to join the private server within 15 minutes, I believe, so keep that in mind. So, to craft your stable flux, you're going to need 10 raw flux of the relevant colour, and 1 of each of the 3 other items. And once stabilised, the flux no longer degrades like food. On top of that, you can craft various endgame items with flux, such as mutations, the recipes of which can be bought from Modus, the Enclave vendor. There is also ultrasight ammo, which is the best ammo in-game, albeit more expensive to create. And finally, some Under Armour mods that usually give you the best stats out of all of them in the game. This resource is so valuable, it can be considered another type of currency in game. Players often trade it as a method to bypass the cap limit of the game, so it's a great resource to have in all its forms. And when crafting stable flux, make sure to have the perk Super Duper equipped also to double your yield potentially. So that's today's video. I hope you learned something about fluxes, and if you did, don't forget to leave that like, a comment and subscribe for more videos from myself in the future. And with that, I'll catch you all next time in the Wasteland.